Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
Speeches have been given, all protocols observed, ambassadors, dignitaries, business partners, friends, colleagues, I greet you all. I'm quite glad and excited to be here to see this final signing off of the declaration. I will not waste your time with pleasantries. Let's get down to business as fast as we can.
That's right.
Put your hand on your head, say after me, this is how I think. Either if your hand is not on your head, you don't have what I'm asking for, or English is a problem. Put your hand, this is how I think.
This is how I think.
Like you believe it, this is how I think.
This is how I think.
Some of us have heads, but they are cosmetic centers. We spend more time fixing them than putting stuff into them. You know, let me just move a bit for acoustics. So this is how I think. Put your hand on your heart. Say after me, this is how I feel.
This is how I feel.
I'm like you believe it, this is how I feel.
This is how I feel.
Put your hand in your hand, saying after me, this is how I do.
This is how I do.
There are only three things we must do as Africans. We must calibrate our minds with correct thinking. We must recolonize ourselves with ourselves. Because we're not monkeying around that. Life would not leave us a vacuum. If we don't recapture ourselves. Someone was even saying to me, Maponga, once in a while you put propaganda on your page. I said, why? I said, as long as the propaganda is positive, in the direction that we want to go. CNA is full of propaganda, BBC is full of propaganda, Al Jazeera is full of propaganda, you don't have a problem. But when I put propaganda that Africa is uniting, you want to come around with some AI, what? I said, no, once in a while, when I see what I like, I talk about it. We need to start recalibrating the quality of our thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, let's change the quality of our conversation. Things that we say. This thing of talking too much about soccer and sports and talking about politics of politics. Politics is entertainment for the poor. But I'm telling you, for 63 years, we've been voting. But we don't see this thing working called democracy. So I happen to be one of the thinkers amongst you, and I will not waste your time. This thing does not work. All right? We're now coming with strategy. A bad strategy, implemented violently, succeeds. And a good strategy that is not implemented at all remains on the shelf for a very long time. And I think sooner or later, you ambassadors are here and fellow politicians are here. I may have to resort to some strategies that will shock. I may have to start mobilizing young people. And we just walk through those borders and we bend them. Because they don't serve any professional, progressive purpose. We have been telling you, we want to walk here. We want to walk. And you government officials are the problem to our movement. Because you can walk through from Egypt to South Africa. You will never find a place where one tribe stops and another tribe begins. You can't put a ruler and draw and say, the Luos stop here. And then the Maasai start here, and then the Chewas start. There's nothing. We grow into each other like a beautiful river that flows through the continent. Every African is connected to another, and we're one big family. So this whole thing of borders is an economic business. I don't know who got the contract for printing those passports and printing that money. Whether it's worth anything or it's worth nothing, but keep on printing. Keep on printing. That thing is not working. This generation you are looking at, the young boys and girls are going to walk up to those borders and bend those borders. Some of you who call yourself presidents, you are going to get stoned by your very members. Because we cannot put you into power. And then you come around with security people to protect us, to protect yourself from us who put you in power. No, it's us who need security from you, because you are the thief and you are the murderer amongst us. So we don't need We don't need to fear you if we put you into power. We may need to resort to some violent ways of getting these things done. I'm not saying we kill anybody, no. But as Irumba said, how can 52 men and women fail to undo what 10, 12 men did in Berlin Conference? That's the common sense of that. Few white boys, uncircumcised white boys, few white boys, sit around the table and they take a ruler and they draw on the map. And up to now, another 100 years later, we are struggling to undo what they did. I'll make it very simple for you, for the younger viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, all our African governments are illegitimate. Swallow that slowly. All our governments are illegitimate. I'm glad I have a lawyer next to me today. Let's go, my brother. Let's talk like intellectuals. Why? I must qualify why I say they're illegitimate. Because there's no way you can run a country based on Berlin Conference. And Berlin Conference was illegitimate. Because it was not democratic. The people that you were dividing their country for were not present. And we did not give you veto power to make that decision on our behalf. So Berlin Conference, legally speaking, it was an illegitimate meeting, which had results, of course, of political will and militarization to enforce, though illegitimate. You can't come back to me in 2025 and say I'm a president of Zambia, I'm a president of Zimbabwe, I'm a president of Uganda, based on what? Based on Berlin. So if Berlin was illegitimate, there's no African president here. All of you, tell them. Read my lips. There is no African country. Our country is Africa. These are just provinces. The province of Uganda, the province of Kenya, the province of Zimbabwe. The country is Africa. So while we are talking about the United States of Africa, point of correction, you may want, with my instruction, take a black marker and rub off the word states. Because those states are non-existent. It must just be United Africa, full stop. There are no states in Africa. Don't give us that illusion of America as if we're different states. We don't want to be African states. We are the state. Africa is a country by herself. So this is United Africa, full stop. Having said that, I want to throw some few arrows in the direction of our business community. We need to legitimize our presence. We need to colonize our governments. We need to corrupt our governments with our money. The business community. Black Africans. Don't take your money and run to Dubai. Buy these mines. Invest locally. Because if you don't, the Chinese are coming. Life does not allow for a vacuum. And then you complain, our things are going. These people are coming, are taking our things. But when you have the money, you don't put your money where your mouth is. So we need African bankers who can roll our programs to the community. We need African insurance companies who can ring fence our finances. We need financial engineers. We no longer need slogans. Viva, viva what, viva what. We're no longer going to battle here. We are going to the boardrooms of international business conversations. We need some people who understand the guerrilla warfare of finance. How do we transform our economies? I'll give you just one little illustration and I sit down. We needed to start studying first. Thank you, Professor. We need to start creating an educational system that teaches children about their resources that they're standing on. First things first. Don't tell me how many legs does a grasshopper have. Tell me what is underneath my feet. What is at the bottom here? Yeah. Tell me what is on top of the ground. Me, human resource. Tell me what is above my head. Technologies. When you don't have nothing to do with the air, you can even sell airtime. There's business in the air here. There's business here. There's business here. Three things only that an African child must understand. What am I standing on? Who is standing on it? And what is above his head and her head? If we can begin to orient our children on how to access these resources, not just access them, then beneficiate them. Not just beneficiate them, then manufacture them. Not just manufacture them, then distribute them, market them, and the excess of it for the international community. What am I talking about? Start building value chains. Start building value chains. The Ankole cows are most popular and most resilient. I don't know why we can't fill up Africa with those Ankole cows. Back to ancient Egypt. Increase the breed. You are Ugandans, you're one of the biggest stock of these things. There's no reason why these animals cannot fill up the entire continent and repopulate ourselves with a proper breed of cattle. Creating value chains. You know how much is one Ankole cow in South Africa? One. Kuluma, one Ankole cow. How much will it cost you in South Africa? Those things are worth millions. You have them walking around here for 200,000 Ugandan shillings in whatever you are selling them for here, and you don't know you're sitting on a world market where these things are good for milk, good for horns, good for skins, resilient, and etc. And until we begin to look at ourselves as Africans as the market that consumes our products. Look at Malawi. Starvation is coming their way. Ask me why. Most popular, known in the world for making one of the best teas. Tea. Who eats tea? How can you be so stupid as Africans that you can fill up the whole place with tea, and then you go and you sell the tea, and then when you get the money, you buy food, and you come back again? What have you just done? Which part of this is confusing? That you can plant cocoa and coffee, whatever it is, and then you go and sell the coffee, and you come back home to a hungry stomach. Which part of this don't you understand? Would rather cut off this tea business. Take some of that land for productive food.
That's right.
Food first. You're going to be supplying coffee and coffee. Every time at lunch hour in Germany, they are sipping your coffee. And all they give you some coins. And land is there. Let's learn how to utilize land. It's not agriculture. It is agriculture.
That's right.
The culture of food.
That's right.
The culture of seeds. The culture of preparing the food. The health of the food itself is an entire lesson when you talk about agriculture. It's not food. It's not food security. If I hear you say that again, I will knock you on your head. We don't want food security, my food. We want food sustainability. One that can regenerate itself and duplicate itself and go further. We create our value chains. We share one with another. We begin to talk about capturing our governments. Capturing our... So all of you guys who have money, I'm teaching you the quickest way to corrupt the government is the fastest way also of moving forward. And when you make money with government, don't be embarrassed to spend that money in the place where you have made it. Come on. If we trust you with our money, we must be good enough to share that money with you. So we are looking for serious businessmen. I wish I could have another 100 Dangotes around the continent who can solve the oil problem, solve the car manufacturing problem, solve the solar system problem. Here we are in Zimbabwe, South Africa, shipping out platinum in tons and tons into China. They take raw materials. They don't even tell you in one platinum ore there are 14 other minerals they are not paying for. They're just paying for the raw material only, which is stones of platinum. And then these things go somewhere very far. And then they come back as lithium batteries. And we are paying an arm and a leg. How stupid can we be as Africans? Tell me that you are all engineers here. Engineer, electrical engineer. Magma summa cum laude from the university. Up to now you still cannot help Uganda to make one lithium battery. For crying out loud, if you are stupid like me, just buy one and then dismantle it. Then look inside what is there and try and make it again. That's how China built its economy. We call that reverse engineering. That's true. Hello, somebody? Reverse? Go buy some caterpillars and break them to pieces. And then manufacture the new pieces, assemble it. Don't even call it Zomyo, call it anything that you want. Give it a local name. China, that's what they're doing with cell phones, with clothes, with technology, with cars, with computers. Some of that technology they've not discovered it themselves. They buy it from the West, re-engineer it. This is what we want to start seeing in our schools, gentlemen. No more writing 10 papers.
Exactly.
And then you come to a conference, they've got small little blue thing in their hands. The problem is somewhere here. The problem is, no, it's not there. The problem is here. Yeah. It's not on the wall. We needed to start moving, ladies and gentlemen, towards a reconciliation of our systems. Our banking systems must speak to our government institutions. And you who are busy doing law, that law is illegitimate also. Ask me why. The first paragraph in the law is jurisdiction. By definition, Roman Dutch law. Right. Africans, please walk away. This is Rome and this is Dutch. What are you doing with the Roman Dutch law? That law has its own God, has its own wives, has its own property rights, has its own business terms, has its own legal and illegal things, some of which are quite offensive to us. You can't walk to an African person and say you belong to the Witchcraft Act because they're eating herbs, and herbs are not allowed. Because the Constitution says before you give someone tablets, they should have been tested. Go to hell! We've been here for millions of years eating these herbs. What other test do you want? What test do you want? No, the white man must put it in a test tube, and then only after he has approved it, then it is good enough for eating. Do I look sick? I was born behind a kitchen in my grandmother's house. I didn't even get vaccination until I was grown up and old for schooling purposes. But whoever treats a person that is not sick is a witch. These laws have no relationship with us. They don't even know who owns the land. And when two people are discussing land that belongs to another, theft is rife. Put the bank here, put the bank here, and put the government here. And they start talking about land which belongs to the kings. Someone is getting stolen. Someone is getting robbed right there. So this concept of using the foreign forms of governance, we need you as young men who can now sit down and re-engineer what can we call a common law amongst us as Africans. I'll educate you quickly. There are only 3 laws we need as I'm sitting down. Law number 1, the law of self-preservation. Come on.
That's right.
The law of, all of us, the law of, if I find you drunk, walking on the road, and you cannot see your way home, you are a criminal. Because you are now about to kill yourself. Looking after yourself must be business number 1.
Teach, Maponga, teach.
Eat well, drink well, sleep well, live well. Looking after this is a legal responsibility of every African. Don't eat everything like a pig. The country of Africa cannot do with a sick African. You go to Philadelphia right now, in some parts of America, they are zombified on full drugs. They just go in the home of freedom, the land of the free. And you wonder if these monsters come here with that freedom of drugs, where will they leave us? Anyone who is involved in destroying life is a criminal to the African. You, as an African, look after you. You owe yourself a bit of exercise. You owe yourself some glasses of water. You owe yourself a good waistline. You owe yourself good looks. Look after yourself. Self-preserve yourself. It's a legal responsibility of looking at, teach young children how to look after themselves. We don't have vagabonds that are walking around the town here who are a mess to all of us. Number 2, the law of establishing families. That's the second law. Here you put all your legalities around the setting up of homes in an African culture. How are homes established? Husband and wives. How are children? In the event the husband dies, what do we do? You have 4 children now, madam. I die as your husband. Can you go and remarry another man from across the river and take my children to be brought up by another man who does not know me, who ends up abusing my children? Or is it safer for me as a young brother to call my other young brother and say, hey, your brother is dying, please take over here. So at least the uncle is in the house. Okay, then you say you're Christians. The Bible didn't say so. When that other man died, in the same Bible, he claimed to be Christians. Say to the man, your brother is dying, please. Continue. And then the man, God killed him. You remember the story. So we need to learn laws of family establishments and the dynamics. When you cannot have children, what must you do? You must do through surrogacy. Go and buy some foreign sperms in the bank and produce things that you don't know. Some criminals who are busy masturbating over a video. And then you want to produce that as a child? You want to produce that as a child? When we have our own African methods of managing infertility, from the corners of negotiating with sister wives, negotiating with uncles and cousins, and making sure that this issue is resolved. Even in the event that a young sister can birth a child and give it to you to look after that child. I mean, don't you find this sensible and human?
Yes, African.
The laws of family establishment. Law number 3, Honorable Lawyer. The laws of estate. And how to do business on the land. How do we transact? How do we take guarantees from each other? And the first principle on law number 3, any man who sells land is a thief and is selling the future of his children. Land is unsellable. Because no one amongst us has the first receipt from the one who created it. So here's your land and you paid. No, no one owns land. Our land owns us. From it we came, to it we shall return. So we can teach these simple principles of how to develop a legally conscious community of young people. Look after yourself. Come on, look after. Oh, I'm speaking in 2 ways now. Look after yourself. Look after your mind. Look after yourself. Secondly, look after your family with passion. And thirdly, look after your land. For any time you give a man the land underneath his feet, if he does not own the land between his ears and the furniture between their legs, the land underneath their feet will always suffer. We therefore are in the business of developing ownership of the first piece of land here. And when this is in full ownership, we can talk about procreation and ultimately how do we maximize our resources. This is how I want you to think, this is how I want you to feel, and this is how I want you to do. I've been working with Irumba here for some time, and I know every year he goes out to give people gifts. So I decided to bring him something we call the Nyami Nyami from the great Zimbabwe. If you say your ancestors could not read and write, it's you who can read and write the handwriting of our forefathers. There is a hand of governance. There is a pot of mystery and religion. How you put that piece of stone inside there, only the architects would know. There you have your education and economics. There you have your entertainment. There you have your finances. And there you have the mysteries of Africa. All the 7 lessons of the development of Africa, from governance to education to commerce and business to entertainment to sports and recreation, spirituality, health and technology, all summarized from the previous generation in form of an art. I hope that this piece of wood will find its place on your wall and constantly remind all of us that maybe our forefathers saw it before it happened. If we can read the handwritings of our forefathers, we may unlock the mysteries of the future.
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.